What's up, everybody?
My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah, CB myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Jim Green.
Don't even need a hit of traffic light.
Okay, good.
Welcome to
One Set. What's up, everybody? We are back, and we had a weekend. Jim here, alongside my co-host, my best friend, and my brother Anthony. I've been looking forward to WrestleMania, obviously for WrestleMania itself. We had the live tailgate live stream version of the podcast, which we have been talking about like since we started this thing 119 years ago. Years.
Okay, cut.
119 years ago. Yeah, back in 1905, everybody. All right.
How were you podcasting at that point? Who are you?
You don't know if we were podcasting at that point because I bet you weren't even born, so you can't even dispute this. No.
Yeah.
No. We are on episode 119 this week. It is just week to week, like when you were out and I was, or when you were on hiatus and I was like, taking the wheel for you on all
managing through. Which, dude, thank you again.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I gave you full appreciation. Thank you for holding down the fort, man. Yeah, you know, everybody's doing good. We're kind of settling into everything. When this comes out, Baby Grayson will be 3 months tomorrow, but this will be coming out Friday. So he will all be like three months and 2 days. So I can't believe it's already been 3 months. It's been going by so quick. So yeah. I mean, I'm glad to be back in a regular thing with the podcast. You know, I've been itching to get back, and the live podcast we've been saying for the last couple of weeks was basically I was having that as my return episode, even though I had gotten on one or two prior to that, but this was my official, return back to it. And the live podcast was so fun. It couldn't have went any better than what we envisioned. And me and Jim didn't really have any prior backups to really check on sound or anything, or check anything. So we just kind of got there that day and started setting up. I had done a couple previous things to just make sure the software for the live streaming was able to work, but I couldn't really get a lot of camera work and everything going because Jim had half of my stuff in pretty much the last couple of months. So I was working with little to none to really work with to prepare for it. However, I've used the software before, but then we had a issue with one of the interfaces, and I was talking to Jim that morning saying like, well, should I bring another interface? Do you make sure you have the interface? He's like, yeah, I have it, but just for the sake of it, bring the other one. And
for safety.
For safety, yeah. But thank God I said something to you, and thank God you told me to, because that was our saving grace. We almost had to just bail on the live stream but then we're like, well, even if that, our mics are not going to be on, so what's the point of talking into a non-mic that's not even on? It's going to look like, we're just weirdos. But then, because then I'm like, I was at home thinking maybe I should bring a monitor so then people can actually hear us, because you can hear us out there, but it was a little muffled because of the wind and everything. Right. If you were there live with us, live, the people that were watching the live stream, you got the audio version of it, obviously, with the video, so you can hear pretty crisp and clear. But when you were there, I mean, it was windy at times, but it was more muffled, so you had to kind of really be up close to us to really listen. So I was thinking in the morning, maybe I can just bring one of the monitors, the small monitor, so that it'll go right out of the interface so that, people walking by can actually hear our voices better. But I'm like, I don't want to bring too much stuff. The less, the better. But then when we got there, I'm like, that would have probably been like one of the better things. So for the next one we do, whenever that'll be, I've already had some ideas, but we'll talk about that off air.
But don't tell nobody about that.
But don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody yet. That will be something we'll get into the next time we do it. We'll have like an actual audio monitor so people there can actually, hear us a little bit better than just, us talking regular into a microphone that they can't really hear. But dude, it was awesome. I can't really like express how much it was how much fun it was. And, I'm sure me and Jim can back me up on this. We want to give a shout out to a couple people who actually came up to us, and we did not expect any followers or anybody to really come up to us and like chat. We expected people to, interact just out of generosity. But when we were I think 14, 15 minutes into the podcast, and our first shout out has to go to Trey. Trey was the one that walked by, and he was like, "Hey, I actually follow you guys," and we're like, "Whoa!" And that just like threw us through a whole like different vibe, and that kind of just kicked off the whole thing. Wow, like we actually have followers that are here that actually listen to us. So, Trey, thank you for setting that off. And, we have a couple other people we want to, shout out to Jacob, Justin, Dan, and Dylan. You guys, thank you for coming up to the booth, especially Jacob and Justin. They were the ones that, were just trying to start a podcast. And, hopefully you guys have, tried to get start doing that and, have fun doing it. But thank you guys for at least coming over and hanging out. And, we're glad to, be in your presence just as much as it was vice versa. And, giving Dan and Dylan a shout out, because they were, the guys that were actually, across the parkway from us, and they were, cooking up some stuff, and we were able to get a little shot with them after the show. So it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, good thing that you brought that backup interface, because we would have been SOL, man. Like,
it would have definitely been done. At first, I thought I forgot my computer because we were setting up everything, and I'm like, "Where's my computer?" And and then Jen's like, "You dumbass, it's in the car." Like,
and again.
I just think there were so many things, especially with the interface and this going on. I'm like, okay, what's the next thing I'm thinking that I forgot? And then I didn't have the computer on the table yet. And I'm like, wait, did I forget it? I'm like, dude, that's it. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
But then she, thank you to my wife. She's always my second brain. She's like, it's in the car. I'm going to get it for you.
Yeah. I mean, and really, we're trying to navigate like, okay, reserve parking space, like which lot were we going to be in? We were going to be in the K lot.
Yeah.
That lot wasn't opening until 2:30. I was like, I'm trying to get home in time. Like, I thought matches were starting around 5 because that's what they used to do. I guess. I guess when they were all on one night still 5 years ago, they were trying to cram everything into one night. So they like kind of had to put some matches on the pre-show.
Yeah, they had pre-show matches, but they didn't have any pre-show stuff. It was just pretty much panel, press conference type of stuff. And, like you were saying, it's starting to be more like WrestleMania started to be more like a sports event where you have the panels and, pre-show talk about everything, but there's no wrestling. Have you ever wanted to start your podcast but didn't know where to start? The One Step Bros are here to talk to you about Zencastr. Zencastr is the ultimate-based podcasting solution and now the all-in-one podcasting platform, making podcasting easy. They've sure made it easy for us to be able to record our podcast and our episodes every week for you guys. Once you've set up your account, you're simply one click away from recording a high-quality podcast with studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. My personal favorite feature is their multi-layered backups, which ensure our recordings are always in the highest quality, even during unstable web connections. And if you thought you needed multiple tools and services for your podcast, Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform allows you to create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code OneSetPod, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences we do with all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Dude, I've been getting this annoying itching feeling under my armpits from the deodorants I've been trying and using, and I can't seem to find something that works for me.
Have you ever tried maybe like a natural deodorant?
Natural deodorant? No. Are you insane?
No, but I am Wild.
Oh,
Wild is the UK's #1 natural deodorant company that focuses on performance, sustainability, and style.
Their mission is to clean up the bathrooms by leaving it free of ugly, single-use plastic bottles and unnecessary chemicals.
You know why Wild is great? Because it actually works and it's eco-friendly and contains over 98.5% natural ingredients.
They have a fully sustainable design with aluminum cases that last for a lifetime, plus biodegradable, recyclable refills. And you know what's cool? They can actually imprint your name on these aluminum cases for a small additional fee.
Wild is super convenient with flexible subscription options or paying as one-off purchases. And you can customize your order by choosing your case, color, and various scent combinations. I know I have the Ocean Mist, the Fresh Cotton and Sea Salt, and the Orange and Neroli flavors, and they all smell super great. And what's best about them is they don't just wear off immediately, and then all of a sudden you smell like BO.
Yeah, I've been rocking the sandalwood and patchouli scent right now. And again, great scent, lasts like throughout the day, that you're pretty much protected throughout the day. And I also was able to try the mint and aloe vera. Big aloe vera fan, right on point, long lasting, and you can look forward to these cases and scents in a limited edition every month.
Go Wild today with a special discount of 25% off your first order when you get the code OneSetPod at checkout. Go to wearewild.com and use the code OneSetPod at checkout and enjoy.
When you're talking about hydration, hydration is not only for people training for championships and marathons. We're talking about daily maintenance people. Jim, did you know that 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated?
I believe it, Anth. I mean, honestly, in my line of work, dealing with teaching children and also dancing with adults my age, younger and older, I can almost tell based off of how well people not just perform athletically, but how we carry ourselves and how we communicate back and forth, our facial gestures and just our energy alone. I can tell when somebody's sluggish and they're sleep deprived versus they're just sluggish because they're a dried up sponge because they are dehydrated, right?
Absolutely. And for people like me who are working the 9 to 5, and, for me gigging at night, proper hydration is definitely crucial to maintain function throughout the day and keeping yourself energized. And that's why proper functional hydration is essential. And who's going to give it to you? Liquid IV, because Liquid IV is the #1 powered hydration brand in America. Their hydration multiplier is the one product you're missing in your daily routine. I like to use it first thing in the morning. I've been doing a lot of workouts here and there, so I pop it in my water bottle first thing in the morning. Gives me a little boost of energy, what I need. And sometimes during the day when I'm doing that like 2 o'clock, rundown, I'll pop a little one. If not in the morning, it gives me a little bit of that energy that I need. With just one stick, you can hydrate real life 2 times faster than water alone, plus get essential vitamins and 3 times the electrolytes as the leading sports drink. And not only that, Liquid IV comes in 12 delicious, refreshing flavors to keep your hydration routine exciting.
Yeah, Anth, I mean, for me personally, like my day to day, I'll wake up and pop a liquid IV just to get my day started and start off with proper hydration. And then I am like required to be physically active between the hours of like 2 or 3 p.m. until 9, 10, 11, sometimes midnight if I'm doing a backup gig. So I'll do another one maybe around noon, 1 p.m., and that'll keep me going throughout the day. And I just feel so much better. I don't even drink coffee on the regular like that because I don't need to pick me up unless if I'm like really just not sleeping much. And then I'm like, all right, get me that. I don't like to rely on caffeine unless I absolutely feel like I need it. Liquid IV does the trick for me. I don't know about you.
Again, one stick with Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficient than water alone. It contains 5 essential vitamins with 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drinks, and it's made with quality ingredients, non-GMO, and free of gluten, dairy, and soy.
Liquid IV believes that equitable access to clean and abundant water is the foundation of a healthier world. They partner with leading organizations to fund and foster innovative solutions that help communities protect both their water and their futures. To date, Liquid IV has donated over 39 million servings in 50 plus countries around the world.
Yeah, man. Real people, real flavor, real hydrating. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use our code 1SETPOD. That's 1SETPOD and at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code 1SETPOD at liquidiv.com.
Yeah.
So they want to expand all that into the actual show. And we'll talk about that in a minute with everything. The fact that I loved how WrestleMania this year was more wrestling and less backstage segments, and like there wasn't too much downtime. I heard there was like a little bit of a break between the Gunther match and the main event on Saturday. I heard.
Yeah.
I guess if you were there was a big chunk of like time between that, but other than that, night 2 flowed really well. I mean, we got to the main event just by, just a little before 10 o'clock, and there was one of the guys that was like two seats next to me, and he's like, "Dude, it's like 10 o'clock. We're supposed to be here till about midnight." I'm like, "Well, hey, that's fun. That's all fun and games, but still, I mean, we've just been going through match and match and match and match and match and match. I mean, they're not playing any games, which I'm cool with how everything was,
Yeah. Sorry, kind of jumping around a little bit here.
Yeah.
The one thing that I was getting at when we were first leading in here, I was obviously looking forward to Mania and the live streaming, but I also knew that once we got to Mania, that this was gonna be like your actual like return to doing the pod. So I am looking forward to you and I being back on this together.
Yeah.
A little bit
more frequently.
Yeah. But at any rate, and just to piggyback off of like the parking situation, we were trying to coordinate just the two of us riding up to get one parking spot. I'm pretty glad how it worked out.
Couldn't have worked out any better. Yeah.
Jen and Cheyenne coming up with us. We both had the separate parking spots. We weren't complete about it. Like where we like were parked on the line on the outside to create like a lot of room in the middle. The spaces were like a good size overall.
Yeah, like it was almost like a car and a half for the space.
Yeah.
In a way, because we backed up my car to the grass and yours backed up a little bit, and you can fit just about another half of a car in there. So, my thought was we didn't want to get into a parking spot on the street because I thought there was going to be very like a lot less space in between the parking spots, so it was just enough for cars to get by. And after the show, we were walking through Lot K, and it was just like that, what I expected it to be. So we picked Lot M perfectly.
Yeah,
like we would have been crammed in Lot K.
Yeah.
So Lot M was the best place to be.
And I think we would have had a lot more background noise, like intruding.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it worked out well. You know, they're talking about WrestleMania being the largest WrestleMania of all time.
Mhm.
So to me, it's like, okay, so y'all did WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans, and then did WrestleMania 34 4 years later in New Orleans again. So I'm like,
Yeah.
if that's the case, y'all trying to say you're coming back, like soon?
Right.
I don't think that's the case, just because night one, apparently the crowd was freezing, so that's why they, like, you know,
Yeah.
when and like, to me at home, I'm sitting there like, this crowd is like not reacting that much, but
Yeah, it wasn't too lively, but then again, I mean, us from being from Philly, I mean, we knew it was going to be cold that night. So, if anything, we picked the better night to go, which was Sunday. And I thought, I mean, I brought my bigger jacket, but I just stayed in the same sweatshirt and shirt the whole night. I
Mhm.
just put my hoodie on a cut for a little bit here and there. But I mean, Jen had her stuff on, but I'm like, I mean, to the point, it really wasn't that bad. I mean, but you could definitely tell Saturday night was dreadfully cold, you know, and the
Yeah.
crowd showed it too. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you want to talk about, like, sorry. Someone said online, you know, and maybe it was someone from Philly, or maybe it's someone that's been to plenty of stadium manias, to say, like, yeah, a lot of the audio from the crowd literally just goes up. So that's probably why you're not getting it. And because we get the Monday Night Raw last night, because we're recording Tuesday night at this point.
yeah.
Dude, and like, I want to talk about, also, like, we'll go in order here, but
Yeah.
the crowd on Monday Night Raw in Philly, the way that they were, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, the final boss,
Mm-hmm.
was just grinning ear to ear, cracking up, because he's like, I've never gotten this kind of heat in my
Yeah.
career. And you
And
know,
I think he's just he's
loving every second of this right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, this is the passion from the fans that this product, this company hasn't had in so long. And that's just a testament again to, like, how good things are going
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah.
WWE, for the wrestling industry itself.
And they know it.
I
I mean,
am
it's just good to see he can't help but, like, you know, crack smiles, and like he's trying to stay in character, but knowing in the back of his head, like, yeah, we wanted to accomplish something and we did it. You
and
know?
and to that point, you got to think about all of the years where I'm sure Vince has wanted him to come back to do this. How coincidental,
Yeah.
or maybe it's no coincidence at all,
Yeah, you
that
never know.
that Dwayne is like, this is the right time, like, for me to come in, because Vince is, like, definitely on his way out. And
Uh-huh.
If Paul Triple H is, like, really running the show here, he knows what he's doing. Vince
Yeah.
is out of tune. He's got to go.
Yeah.
Like, aside from like, obviously the legal end of it,
Yeah.
the product was, like, so much of a dumpster fire for a long time. We stuck it out as best as we could,
Yeah.
right? Like, to at least keep up with, like, the major pay-per-views. Most of the pay-per-views we saw, if it was like a really low end, the card was just kind of like, eh.
It would be to the point we would just be watching pay-per-views. We wouldn't even be watching Raw or SmackDown. It would just, and like you said, we would just get little updates here and there, and then we will watch a pay-per-view. But even then, it's like, okay. But like, I told my buddy, and you know him, but we're in, like, a really big wrestling boom right now.
I love it.
It is, like, probably one of the best ones in a while. So for wrestling fans right now, it is cool and fun to be a wrestling fan right now.
Well, and really, for us, that we've been on this journey for like 25 years. Yes, we've had ins and outs with it. Okay.
Mhm.
So for us to have been fans for 25 years and to get the content that we're getting now, it it's so refreshing because it's like, okay, y'all got a lot of time to make up for with a lot of the bullshit that you put us through, right?
Exactly.
Right?
And to piggyback
Piggy bank.
piggyback off of what you were saying about, is it a coincidence with The Rock and what he's been doing? I think we kind of know the history between Triple H and The Rock. We know they've been close. I just think it just happened to be like the right place at the right time. Hunter was being put in control of creative. The Rock wanted a piece of that. He's part of the TKO thing. And, they just had this moment like, hey, let's just roll with it. And then they had the whole Cody situation. And, suppose they're coming out with the whole documentary on this whole WrestleMania ride. I want to see that so bad.
By the time that this is, it's coming out tomorrow, Wednesday.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
by the time that this is out on Friday, it will already be out. Dead.
Whoopsie.
I am watching that because I want to
Yeah.
know the details of how everything transformed.
Yeah, sames.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, I definitely want to see that. And, just the fact that like they were supposed to do something totally different and the internet changed their minds to the point there was so much internet like stuff going on, it made them literally change. And I think Rock talked about it in the press conference on Monday night, or was it Sunday night? One of them, that he's like, we had two options to go with.
Yeah.
That either we stick by what we were going and let these people just ride it out, or we listen to them and go this other way. And he's like, we picked the right one to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I talked about this at the tailgate at the live stream. That was Vince's big game, was just saying the fans and just going with his gut.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that that was the biggest thing is Vince was not can't really say not about the fans, but he was more about doing it his way and not necessarily be like, hey, you fans want this, well, you're gonna get this and kind of enjoy it because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, you gotta have some type of way to give your fans what they want, but then you also have to run your product the way you want to. So I understand that Vince was kind of always against listening to the fans here and there, but Triple H seems, especially how he ran NXT for those many years, it was more about, hey, if this is what the current crowd wants and wants to see, let's give it to them. And then once, even in that short amount of time where Vince was gone for a little bit, we got a little taste of that, and everybody's like, whoa, this is a big difference. Then Vince came back, then it kind of went back a little bit. They backtracked back a little bit of what, like, okay, we can tell this is a Vince thing. We can tell that's, Vince's guys doing that. And then once Vince was totally gone, you can see within this last year that it's just been a total 180. And the fact that this has been Triple H's first WrestleMania where he had full control, if this is what we're getting into the future, I am so ready. I'm all in with it.
Yeah, so am I. I think like the only time that I know that Vince made a pivot because of like the fan demand was Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30. Like it's I mean, I'm sure that there were other times that were like lesser, like not as big of a deal case scenarios.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that they were gonna put Daniel Bryan in to the main event of WrestleMania and just not have him win. Like, so it was exciting to see him get the win. That was obviously huge. This is no different. I mean, I will honestly say I was a little bit more like I was more of a Daniel Bryan fan than I was a Cody Rhodes fan going into this because I just had my mind made up like Roman is surpassing the Hogan reign. And I have said that.
We've been saying that for a long time.
countless times on this
Mhm.
podcast, and I'm not mad about being wrong, because I did say, hey, if Cody wins, I'm gonna be happy.
Yeah.
Really, for him, knowing the long roads,
No pun.
all the puns that it took for him to get to here now. I'm excited to see how he runs with it. I
Uh-huh.
like after Monday, gonna need him to stop with the crying. Okay.
A lot of people were saying that, like, dude, you're a champion, and you're being treated like a pussy. Like,
yeah. I mean,
but I do gotta say, in that same aspect, when he won, I was giving him all the praise. I mean, we
my
both had the same thing. Like, if he wins, we're gonna be happy. I was definitely happy that he won, and he got his moment, finished the story, love it. I mean, you know, something came up when he had that entrance. He had that big entrance. He had the skull,
Dude.
thing. I'm like, dude, he might be winning this.
dude, I literally sat there and was like, oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, I'm like, when I saw that, I'm like, he's gonna I think my percentage just went back up. He might be taking this home.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be clean. I knew either one of them. It was not going to be a clean win for either one of them. But we pretty much had the prediction almost there. We said Jay was going to come out and get Jimmy out of the ring. Solo was going to come. Cena comes and gets Solo out of there. Did not expect the battle with him and Roman, which was a cool moment. Then we get The Rock. Did not expect the stare down with him and Cena, all that. But then when The Rock came out, I was up in my seat. I'm like, Austin's gonna come. Austin's gonna come. Like, here he is. Here, and I'm just jumping around. I'm jumping around, waiting for it. Then we get the gong, and but even then, I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well,
I was still so stoked for it.
And it's because I don't think anybody had Undertaker picked to be involved in the match, because it doesn't ultimately make sense, other than, like, the only way that you can really write into it is Mark Calloway is, and forever has been and always will be, a WWE guy, right?
Yeah.
So if you're talking about Cody being the face of the company, and you want to talk about how Roman has been carrying the belt around for the last 4 years, you can write Undertaker in, especially after Roman beating Taker at WrestleMania 33 in the main event. You can finesse that in a way into the storyline. It's not like you had Hulk Hogan come in and he was like the end all be all. Like, yeah, you could almost kind of say the same thing there, but like, Hogan would be down here compared to the Undertaker that's way up here, and then Austin would be like through the roof. It makes sense.
I think people would have been upset if it was Hogan over Undertaker. Just like I said, if Hogan comes and Austin doesn't, I'm gonna be flipped. Whoopsie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I think they ended it the right way with getting everybody that kind of had something. Even though Undertaker didn't have anything to do with Roman, then we forgot about Seth. We didn't expect Seth to come out, and when the Shield here. Did you have the same expectation? I think you know where I'm going with this.
A lot of people thought Dean Ambrose was coming, and I was just like,
I wish I would have gotten a video, because I was saying, "Where's Dean? Where's Dean? Dean's coming out." And everybody's looking towards the stands, and they couldn't see it. But then I missed when Roman speared Seth. I just saw the aftermath of that. So I'm like, oh, okay. So Seth was in there, and then Rock was already in the ring. Roman took care of Seth. Then that's when I'm like, all right, Austin's coming. He's like, I'm waiting, because I started seeing, once Jay came out, everybody got up. Nobody was sitting down for the rest of the match, because we knew it was going to be the ending. People were going to start coming out.
It's about to go down.
Yeah. It was, in The Rock's words, it became electric. Yeah. Everybody was standing, waiting for who was going to come, because then we started seeing the cameramen go up to the ring or up to the stands and be like, okay, somebody else is coming out. Who's going to come? Everybody's like who's going to be? Who's going to be? Then, Cena came out, The Rock came out, everybody's going nuts. And then the gong, everything went black. People were just going berserk.
Absolutely batshit crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so
and
good.
in my mind, I'm like, okay, maybe Rock takes out Undertaker, then we get Austin. But then, Undertaker talk about Rock. I'm like, all right, maybe we get Austin still. I'm like, but I'm just fantasy booking at this point. That's going to be the last one.
I think, like, in like having a couple days to digest it, and obviously, like, don't believe everything you read on the internet, right? Like, believe what you want to believe. Some people were like, yeah, Austin didn't want to be a part of it because they didn't think that Cody should be winning at this juncture, like, because you had the belt on. And I'm like, that's gotta be speculation, okay?
Yeah. Again, like you said, don't believe everything you see or read, but
I just think I really feel like the best thing that they could do, and maybe this is part of the plan, is they're like, if we do this Austin thing right now, we have nothing left going forward. And if The Rock is going to be around for a while, obviously he's going to be gone for however many months. If he's back at SummerSlam, or if we're getting The Rock and Cody at WrestleMania 41, which some people are thinking, and some people are like, no, they're definitely doing The Rock and Roman. Rock's not getting any younger.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
I think we definitely get a Roman and Cody match, even
like
though he's saying, like, well,
a Rock and Cody match. A Rock and Cody.
We definitely get it. If not SummerSlam, we could be getting maybe at the Royal Rumble. Maybe at the Rumble, something like that. But we're definitely getting that match. And I'm stoked to see like how that is, because we were talking about if Cody wins, where does he go from there? So it's cool to see that, okay, they're gonna do a Rock and Cody like feud. So that's gonna be good. And then we get Roman off of TV for couple months. I don't see him taking too much time off. We know Seth's going to take a big hiatus, so he might even be out for about a year, which I'm okay with. They both deserve as much time as they want. I mean, Roman going full 4 years of full-time WWE on top, I'm okay if we don't see him for a couple months, but I don't think it's going to be too long.
Well, they're saying several reports are indicating they're hoping that Seth is back within 4 weeks. I'm like,
oh wow.
I'm like, dude, give him longer.
Yeah,
than that.
he's got to take a break.
I mean,
I'm okay with him taking a couple months, just doing what, because I mean he like we said, he has to rest up. He has some injuries. Let him rest up. Get back to 100 strength level, if not close. But he's been running just about the same height as Roman with his championship, and through the pandemic and everything. So he was going pretty heavy too.
Well, and not to mention, like, his involvement with both main events. Like, when you talk about the tag match from night one, and when you talk about his match with Drew, the dude was pulling. People were like, oh, these guys have to wrestle back-to-back, like, both nights of Mania. Seth was building both of these stories on Raw and SmackDown for like the whole build of the road to WrestleMania. I'm like, this guy deserves more than 4 weeks off. Let's be freaking serious here, okay?
Yeah. Because Cody necessarily didn't have to build the other match, the singles match, because we already knew that was going to happen. So Seth had to worry about another feud and the tag match. So yeah, like you said, he was doing double duty, where Cody, I mean, in a way, he was doing the same thing, but he didn't have to necessarily build his main event match, because we already knew it was fit in there, and you had pretty much the same people in that match. You were fighting Roman night one and fighting him again night two. So there's not necessarily two different feuds you're doing.
And I mean, it also goes with the idea, like, hey, Roman and Cody just did this last year. You don't really have a lot to stand on with just the two of them. So everyone was like, oh, this really feels like it's The Rock versus Cody, and Roman is like nowhere to be found. Like, he's just kind of like not important to the main event. I'm like, yeah, but understand, the bloodline is all about being there to help Roman out. However, come on. I mean, he was the tribal chief. He's like royalty. anybody in that level of power has everyone under them doing their dirty work for them. Like it makes sense. Yeah, for the people that are like, oh, Roman's not even around all that much. He doesn't have to be.
No.
He is that level. He's greatness on another level. And like,
Yeah.
I will go, and I know you and I have talked about this really a lot in the last week. Roman is like, I am acknowledging him, especially now that like the reign is done and Cody is the new champion. Now he can really reflect back and be like, he really did that for like the better part of 3.5, almost 4 years. It's just something we have not seen, and something that has, I mean, you can't say never been seen. Yeah, Hogan, his reign was an extra 100 and some days. No, Roman didn't beat that reign. But I think people are going to look at this Roman reign now and say how iconic it was because of where WWE is now compared to where it was when Hogan had his title run. Granted, Hulk Hogan was like a national treasure in that time. He made wrestling cool in that era. Can't take that away from him. But when we're talking about 40 years later, and you want to talk about people who revolutionized WWE, let alone the entire industry, of course you got to talk about John Cena, right?
Yeah.
And again, this is back in 2016 when you're thinking WrestleMania 32 time. Like Cena was still on a lot, but
he was on regular TV.
His last Mania title match was with The Rock when he beat The Rock at Mania 29. Right? Which was 2013, 11 years ago. That makes sense. Okay. So after that, you had John Cena go to WrestleMania 30 and work the match with Bray Wyatt. And at some point, we're going to talk about that documentary at length. Okay.
Yes, we need to.
And maybe we save it for when Uncle Howdy comes through, because definitely happening, especially after, if you caught Raw last night.
I missed that segment, but yeah, I went back and saw the clips, and I'm like, yeah, it's happening.
They're doing it. They're pulling the trigger, and
But before we get into that, I just want to give my 2 cents on the Roman thing.
Yeah.
I know I said that I would only acknowledge Roman if he was going to win Sunday night, but I feel the same way as you, that this has been something we are not going to see for a long time. And now, I mean, we didn't want to acknowledge him. We knew we were seeing something great, but we didn't want to acknowledge what we were seeing. But now after Sunday, I'm right there.
I'm doing it.
Gotta acknowledge the tribal chief for what he put forth. This is the best Roman Reigns we have ever seen.
Easy.
This is better than, when he was being forced down our throats. This is something I think Roman has been dying to get to, and it took him those years to, be, thrown at, spit at, and, mocked and everything. And like that interview Saturday night in the press conference when
he said, leave.
Like, yeah. He's like, everybody acknowledge me. And one girl was like, boo. And he's like,
boo.
Like, get out.
He was just like, who just did that? Leave.
Who just said that?
Yeah. He's like, I'm not kidding.
Like,
get her out, or I'm
leave,
gone.
or I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this guy is invested in it. And I think this is something like, again, the characters and like persona that he had before, I felt like he was playing the character, but he wasn't invested in it. This thing was more Roman Reigns than anything. Like, he put all you can tell he believed in the character and like put his wholehearted like energy into it. Like, when he's up there, he's on this level at that point. And it's not like somebody's trying to say like, hey, this is the guy we're trying to push. You guys should be paying attention to him. Like, no, he's like, if you're not, I'm going to prove it to you.
Yeah.
And Sunday night proved that, hey, he may not have surpassed Hogan's reign, but he's still in the history books after Sunday night for what he has done over the last 4 years. And, like I said, just got to acknowledge the tribal chief, man. The One Step Bros acknowledge the tribal chief.
Absolutely.
And he deserves the rest and, healing that he needs. I know he was saying that, he's in remission, but he has to take that, chemotherapy pill every day for the rest of his life. So for him to continue on like that, he's like, hey, as long as my health is good, I'm still going to be here. So, the dedication that he still has, even though he has those personal battles. So, this is something we are not going to witness for another long time, just like another Cena and another Austin, another Rock, another Hogan. It's almost on that type of level that you're not going to see this type of reign for another little while.
Well, I think, really, okay, two things. Let me just say, I think Roman's character, it's a testament to, like his mannerisms is a testament to like pop culture and just like the culture of our society and how we deal with it. Like 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago, if a lady said boo in a press conference, somebody will be flipping out. He's like, no, I'm not even going to invest that energy. Get her out of here or I'm gone. Like that level of like cool, calm, and collected, but being dead serious. I'm like
serious.
I was just like, oh my God. Like I really think that, like,
I almost had a panic attack just from him acting like that. I'm like, oh my God, you better get out of there, save yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, I have so much that I want to say. I really wanted to go back to when Roman first came back in 2020.
Yeah.
He came back at it was SummerSlam. We were still Thunderdome era, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by still, I mean like the Thunderdome had actually just started a little bit before that. Like they were literally just running out of the Performance Center with zero fans for like, I think 2 months. And then once they realized, okay, fans ain't coming back anytime soon, they're like, okay, Thunderdome,
shop here. Yeah.
LED boards, the whole shebang. I still remember watching Roman on SmackDown, and he was sitting there by himself in his locker room, and the camera panning over to Paul Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Heyman. We could talk about his speech at length another time.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to say Roman inducting him was really cool, and him saying, if there's no Paul, there's no Roman Reigns. Like if he goes, I'm out. So I really think, like, when you talk about all-time managers, like, there's nobody that is even close to Paul Heyman.
No.
But you want to talk about, like, The Undertaker with Paul Bearer and, like, how Paul Bearer really helped make The Undertaker, because The Undertaker was not on the mic really through
right.
the
I was
going to
say Paul Bearer might be the only other one, because he kind of, helped the Undertaker those first couple years. But, Paul Heyman's on a different level for what he did as well.
Yeah, I mean, you had Heyman with Lesnar forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Right?
No, don't say that, Nate. Don't say that name.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey, Triple H talked about him. Triple H talked about him in the presser. Someone was like, what's the status of Brock Lesnar? He's like, Brock's not gone. He's just at home being Brock. And that's like that was like the most PC answer that he could give, because he's not like, well, we had to write him off of everything because of y'all know what's going on.
Yeah. Because of
redacted. Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy. But dude, yeah,
Yeah,
Roman's
just a
reign.
lot of moments just from Roman Reigns this weekend, and yeah,
Triple H.
I'm out of words.
Triple H is. It's pretty clear Triple H's biggest test for himself is, and he said this at the presser after Cody won after night 2. He said the hardest thing to do is establish a solid
Babyface,
baby face. So I think they're doing everything in their power to invest stock in Cody Rhodes being the top baby face in the company, right? Like,
yeah,
and why wouldn't you after all that you've tried to do to get him over, right? I am excited and mildly nervous. And when I say mildly nervous, it's not because I don't have faith in Cody Rhodes. It's just, and it's not that I don't have faith in the booking. I just haven't seen them get a babyface over from a booking standpoint. I mean, the biggest babyface again, Daniel Bryan. Come on.
Yeah.
You can talk about Brock in his like most recent run and how everybody was all for babyface Brock, Cowboy Brock, right?
Yeah.
LA Knight was like organically getting himself over, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and again, we talked about him hitting his stride, kind of really plummeting. It's just tough because I know he's no spring chicken. He's not young, so he's running out of time. It's like it really is like he's got to kick it into high gear to get himself to where. And
yeah,
I mean, along with obviously they're investing everything in making Cody the top babyface. I just hope that LA Knight can hit his stride again, right?
Yeah. I would say you would have to probably turn, obviously, LA Knight heel to work with Cody, because you're not going to generate Cody into a heel anytime soon. He's going to be working as a babyface for a while at this point. So you would have to find a way to turn LA Knight heel in order for that to work. Because unless you're going to have two because it's almost like, you can turn LA Knight heel, but people are still going to be chanting and being with his mannerisms because it's the hottest thing to do right now. So you're going to be eventually trying to work a baby face and a heel, but it's going to be like playing two baby faces in the same way. But yeah, I'm glad LA Knight won. Like we both said, he needed to win that, and hopefully this sparks this thing back up. And I'm looking forward to hopefully him getting and continuing to jump up the ladder, and hopefully we, do get to see him, maybe not touch Cody, but it would be cool to, if Damian Priest holds on to that belt, because he could easily probably lose at the J at Clash of the Castle. I mean, it'll be a stretch, but I think Priest might hold on to it with the Judgment Day for a little bit.
So, okay. We don't know for sure if Damian Priest is defending against Jey Uso. Obviously, Jey Uso won. And mind you, Drew McIntyre was setting up to take out Jey Uso.
Yeah.
He did the 3-2-1. And then he got held up. Let's talk about CM Punk and how he had an arm brace and a torn tricep, and he was holding on to Drew McIntyre's foot. So if they're putting him into the position of doing that, I mean, yeah, obviously Drew can make it look like he's struggling, and CM Punk might not be using his arm full blown.
Yeah.
I for one think like as soon as Punk is cleared for in-ring activity, they're not going to book him right away. Like they're obviously using him on TV right now. They're obviously building the Drew stuff.
They're gonna they're slow burning that, and that'll definitely be something to look forward to. But yeah, I think we get that in a little bit. But I'm cool to see that they have that little side feud going, and we're eventually going to get something going with CM Punk and Drew to, finalize that. But I'm cool to see that, CM Punk has cost Drew these moments twice at this point. He costed him the World Heavyweight Championship belt, and now he's costed him the opportunity to get back at the belt.
Yeah, the number one contender spot. Dude, I have more stock in the Drew and CM Punk match than the CM Punk and Seth match at this point. I'm like,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But they're building that Drew and CM Punk feud so much that I would be surprised if it just went to SummerSlam. I would also be a little surprised if it carried all the way to next WrestleMania, because obviously they want to do the CM Punk and Seth Rollins match, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point. I'm also very much again, just thinking so far ahead now and thinking about all the possibilities, because everything is possible now that Vince is gone. You got The Rock and Triple H cooking over here, right?
Yeah, literally.
Literally, right? Okay. And do you want to run through both nights and just kind of say, let's do just out of 5 stars, how Meltzer would review the matches?
Yeah,
and
let's just quickly just do a star ranking. We don't have to really go over the match. I think we kind of did a good summary of what we felt about the weekend, about the matches, and then we can quickly, maybe dissect Raw if we have a little bit of time. But yeah, maybe we can give just our star. What is out of 5 stars?
Yeah,
for each of the matches. Yeah, let's do that real quick.
Okay, let's start night 1. Rhea Ripley defeats Becky Lynch. The match went 17:05. I was really good with the match length. I wasn't great with a lot of the miscues, disconnects, which I talked about at the tailgate. Something seemed off. I did read that Rhea Ripley was having a big panic attack 2 hours before the show started. Also, they said on commentary that Becky Lynch had strep throat all week leading into Mania. So I was like, okay, I get it, the show must go on, but these are human beings. This kind of stuff happens. Would I like to see them put on another match at some point and actually kill it?
Yeah.
No.
Meaning, that I wasn't saying I would like to see it, but agreeing with the statement.
No, I'm saying, I would like to see the match again if they absolutely grand slam knock it out of the park. Okay, don't give me another match and then you give me a 3.5 star match at best. I would just say 3.5, because
that was mine.
It's literally I know how great that both of them are and how what they've done. I can't even give them 4 stars because the chemistry in the ring just didn't fit.
That was my first thing that I told you. I'm glad Rhea won, but I expected more out of this match.
Yeah,
so I feel 3.5 is probably good for this match because they were both almost on the same level. I mean, Rhea didn't really go too hard. Becky really didn't go too hard.
No,
I mean the length of the match was good. It didn't go too long, didn't go too short, but the intensity of the match didn't connect with how the promos and all the promos leading up to it. They were, leading up to something really big, and it kind of just was lackluster in the match.
So much more chemistry in the build the 2 weeks leading up to the match, and then within the match, I was like, this feels like they're just doing their job right now.
Yeah.
And by doing their job, I mean doing the match. They're not selling any chemistry in here, hardly at all. So I was
so 3.5 is pretty good for that.
It's beyond fair. I would even take it down to 3.25.
If anything.
Okay. Next match. 6-team, 6-pack tag team ladder match. There we go. WWE. It says undisputed WWE tag team championships. They hung the 2 sets of belts separately, so we knew ahead of time they were splitting these titles up.
Yeah. Which I'm okay with. That was cool. I liked how they did it.
We both had Miz and R-Truth getting the Raw belts to keep that relevant with the Judgment Day on Raw, which they absolutely did on Raw. R-Truth is one of my favorite things to see on WWE TV right now. It's just
I'm glad they're rolling with it.
It's just fun, man. And you can tell he's just having a total ball with it. Right?
Oh yeah. So it's fun TV. Yeah.
A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller. Apparently, according to reports, Pretty Deadly was supposed to be in that slot. They put them out. They threw in A-Town Down Under, and then there were reports saying they might get taken out of the match, and Pretty Deadly might go in.
Go back in.
Yeah. So they were not on my even radar to win. I mean,
No.
I think they were next in line after the New Day because, like I said, the New Day didn't need to win that match. They're just kind of there to be there.
Yeah.
They're helping
I
out
think
the
we
young
mentioned
guys.
that there's those two are pretty much just fillers for the match.
Yeah,
But did not expect them to be taking the SmackDown title. So it's good because then they're kind of affiliated with Logan Paul, so they can kind of be doing their little faction if they have a faction, if anything. So I'm okay with how the match went. Again, match length was pretty good and a lot more exciting than Becky and Rhea. I felt this match should have opened night one more than Becky. If we would have known how the match was going to be, this should have went second. The ladder match should have went first. They should have switched those.
Yeah.
So,
But that being said, Rhea and Becky would have been knocked down to 2.5 stars if that's the case. Because if you're following that ladder match, which was so many good spots, again, the Johnny Gargano to Pete Dunne over the top rope DDT into the table, so freaking good.
There were a lot of cool spots in that for sure.
And that match actually only went 20 seconds longer than the Rhea and Becky match. So and it probably didn't feel like it because there was so much happening. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You got 12 guys in there, 13 if you count JD McDonough getting in there.
Mm-hmm. So what do you give it?
I'd say 3 3/4 to 4 stars. I mean, to me, the WrestleMania 31 Intercontinental ladder match, which had Luke Harper, Dean Ambrose, Daniel Bryan won the match. Kevin Owens was in there. Sami Zayn was in there.
Yeah.
I'm missing the sixth person, and I think it might have been Zack Ryder actually. That match was a lot of fun, and that match opened WrestleMania 31. That was really good. I take that back. I think Randy and Seth Rollins opened Mania 31. If not,
they did.
Okay, and I think the ladder match was right after that. Then,
yeah,
I would give it 3 3/4, maybe 4 stars.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 3.9. I wanted to do it 4, but I'm like, I'll give it a nudge down to 3.9, just because I feel if I do 4, then you're starting to get into oh, it's like, not that it wasn't a good match. I just can't give it a 4. So I'll say 3.9.
Yeah. Okay. Rey Mysterio and Andrade defeat Santos Escobar and Dirty Dom. Obviously, we get Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson in the match, which was fun. The match itself kind of came together really last minute, kind of just to give Rey a match. You get Dom involved. The match itself, there weren't any crazy botches or anything like that, but there wasn't anything that there's nothing memorable in the match outside of you got Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson to help.
That's the only thing about it that people are going to remember.
I would give it 3 1/4 stars.
I was just giving it a 3.
3. Yeah, I said
3.2. Yeah, 3.2 for okay, I'll give it a happy 3 point, but if anything, 3. Because there wasn't anything that really stuck out with it. The Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson thing was cool, but the whole match, it didn't really do anything for me. So I'll just say a 3.
Yeah, and that's fine. Jey Uso defeats Jimmy Uso. This to me was the most disappointing match of the weekend.
This is almost the same way that I felt about Rhea and Becky, that I felt they should have put more into it. But then again, Jay and Jimmy they're always been a tag team. They've always been a good tag team. So I think being that this is their first singles match together, I think they work better as a team than trying to be, in a singles thing. if that makes sense. So it was kind of weird to see them in this type of match. I know it had to happen. We were excited about it, but just like the Rhea and Becky, I expected more. I expected more, you know, something. I can't even think of the name to really describe it, but I just felt there should have been more there with the story they were telling. Two brothers. I mean, they're two brothers fighting. They should have been a lot more aggressive. I think the aggression or the aggressiveness in the match wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean the match needed to happen 4 to 6 months ago. While it was hot. But to that, I think the only thing that like honestly really just hit me and is just like thinking, okay, what could be happening behind the scenes? Look, Jey Uso has been pushed as main event Jey. You have Jimmy over here just doing the shindig for Roman. Again, I don't think anybody had Jimmy Uso pit to win this match.
No.
And to that, maybe in their like personal lives or like maybe there's like some legit dissension where Jimmy's like, I don't even know why I'm doing this match. Like obviously Jay's getting this win here. So for me, they have to have another match again, and they have to make like Jimmy Uso needs to step up, and we gotta feel like, okay, this could go either way for us to really feel like this is a match worth my time watching. Because I mean, going into it, like I said, Jey Uso's getting this win, and I was like, we don't even need to talk about this. They're gonna put on a hell of a show. Like I boasted this match, and then I was so disappointed.
Yeah,
I was like, just I mean, I think 2.5 stars is being generous, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I was going to say, I was going to give it another 3, and that's probably just being generous.
Yeah.
2.9 the lowest. So
yeah. Jimmy Uso needs Jimmy Uso needs investment in himself as a solo performer. Because obviously Jey Uso's getting all of like he to me is probably the most over babyface right now next to Cody, because he's got everyone doing this and like literally.
And I always thought Jimmy was the better Uso.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Because Jay was always the one behind Jimmy, and I always thought, okay, well, Jimmy's definitely the guy that's gonna probably be that Jay. But then once Jay started taking off, I'm like, oh, this is a different side to him that they're letting him go with it. So, and then when you see Jimmy trying to do the promos backstage, I'm like, it's like he's just reading off a paper.
No,
and he's just kind of trying. He's trying too hard. Where Jimmy, you can see. Like, he knows what he's doing. So I'm like, I picked the wrong Uso.
There was no way of telling when they were a tag team because they didn't have a lot of like charisma. It was, I think it was once we got the Usos versus the New Day. Was like when the when the Usos were on that heel run when they like were originally with the Bloodline. That was my favorite Usos right there. Not back when they were obviously a fun tag team to watch in the ring. They knew how to handle their mic work together, right? But now we get Jey Uso doing all of this promo work. He knows how to handle the mic alone, and it's really clear that Jimmy is a couple pegs underneath of him in that regard. So, not even 3 stars for me. Let's just move along here. Okay. Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi defeat Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, Kairi Sane. The match went 8 minutes. It was all just to build up Jade Cargill. Everyone looked great. The match was really last second, like put together. It was fine for what it was worth. Not much to say about it. I would give it a 3. I would just give it a 3, maybe 3.25. 3.5 is just
being very, very sparse. But yeah,
no,
3 3.25.
3 to 3.25 is good with me. Sami Zayn defeats Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. I really just think going into it, I had Gunther retaining here.
Same.
And the way that they kind of led into the match, it really made us think there was no way Sammy was winning the match. Again, was happy that Sammy got the win. I thought it was really crazy that Gunther destroyed him and Sammy just kept kicking out. I was like, all right, Sammy's just no selling these super finishers here. I was like, why didn't you just let him beat Roman at Elimination Chamber last year?
Right. I mean, granted, I slept through probably 50% of this fight, but knowing that Sammy won and knowing that I saw the ending bout of that, I'm at least gonna put this up to like 3.5, 3 3/4.
I'll say 3 3/4. It's not quite 4 because the match the match overall didn't captivate me. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, I saw like the more towards like the beginning half of it, so it was still building up. I didn't get to the ending, but from what I saw, I can definitely would say maybe like 3.5, 3.6.
Yeah.
Ish. It, like I said, not a 4, but it was a good match, not a bad match. But we didn't expect Sammy to win, but it was cool to see him win. So yeah, like I'll say 3.6.
Sure. Okay. Rock and Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. I gotta say, the crowd work, like the outside the ring stuff that they did, really took the match down for me. And that's just like maybe a personal opinion of mine. The match went 44 and a half minutes long. I get that they wanted the match to be really long, to really like The Rock, even if it's a tag match, they wanted it to be coined as the biggest tag team match in WrestleMania history. I think it very much can go down in history as that. At the same time, and I'm just speaking for like how it would be perceived because of the star power in the match.
Yeah.
I enjoyed last year's Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn tag match better than this. And I think it was just from the storyline. I mean, that's almost not even fair. We knew that The Rock and Roman were winning this match. Okay.
Yeah.
I think last year it was more so, the Usos could retain here. I don't know if they're going to give it to KO and Sammy, but then the way that match ended to me had me so hype. And I didn't feel that for this one just because we knew the outcome ahead of time because of the stipulation that applied to the Night 2 main event. Okay.
For sure.
I will very easily give it 3 3/4 stars. Could definitely teeter towards 4 stars, but I wouldn't give it anything beyond that. And again, if it was anything beyond 4 stars, it would just be because we're getting The Rock at WrestleMania wrestling a match, right? So sure, that holds a little bit of merit to it. In fact, I would just go ahead and say 4 stars on account of that.
Right.
And you're getting the other 3 people in the match that were working Sunday night. So obviously there is a little bit of credibility to that. They did go 44 minutes. So, okay, I'll ditch the 3 3/4, but I'll say a very solid 4-star match for me. If you score it higher, I totally get it.
Well, for the fact that I kind of came into this match halfway through, I will say from what I saw, I mean, The Rock looked good. I mean, we were saying that, especially for his age and how, leading into it, we thought he was going to come into it looking like crap. He did, come into it the way he wanted to. I know I put on that Cody and Seth were going to somehow pull it out because I didn't think Cody was going to go 0-2 for the week.
Right.
But so I'm just gonna, if I saw the whole thing, I would probably be on your same level as giving it a 4. But I'll say from what I saw, 3.8.
Okay. Let's move straight to night 2. I know we're running a little late here, and you got to get up early. So let's hustle this along some.
Yeah, let's just get through the
night 2
last night.
And that's fine because we have kind of talked about some of this because you were literally there in attendance.
Yeah,
I will say overall, night 2 way better than night 1, easily. And I do think it wasn't as cold there, so the fans weren't freezing. And like you said,
it was definitely a lot better temperature. I mean, it was still cold when you had a little bit of a breeze going, but I mean, I wasn't there Saturday night, but I can assume Sunday night was a lot better. I mean, everybody, even Stephanie coming out that in the first half saying like, well, it's a lot better temperature tonight, right? And everybody was like, yeah, because people were because we had a couple people in our section that were there last night. And they were just saying, yeah, it was just extremely cold. And, so it's hard to get into something when you're, trying to fight off being freaking cold. So it's understandable. So, yeah.
I for one, just want to say, people are obviously going to feel very different about this. And it's under the pretense of like, if Stephanie knew that these things were happening in the background, why does she just allow it to be a thing? Look, who is stepping up to Vince McMahon to really like put him on blast like that? Nobody, unless it fits.
I thought I was the only one that thought that because she said something about like, saying that this is the Paul Levesque era. And then she said something that was a hit on Vince. I'm like, wow, she just put her dad on like blast. I'm like, that was just like a punch in the throat to her dad.
Well, okay. I think that
I forgot what she said though, but I knew it was a jab to her dad.
She said, I couldn't be more proud of where the company is and the hands that the company is in the hands of the right person right now.
Something like that. And I was like, holy.
To that extent, like, yeah. I was like, for her to say that, and for Triple H to say at the presser after the fact that like, this is her home. She belongs here.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay.
She really wants her job back. Like,
well, I also think that like she wants to be traveling with her husband to be able to do all, and totally makes sense because they met in the business. So for them to be detached the way that they are now, I'm sure it's weird for the both of them. Okay.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, big cojones for Triple H. But
yeah,
I mean, that's his queen, man. Like, come on. And like I said, they met in the industry. How is he going to tell her, no, you just need to stay home and raise the kids while I go and make this company the best it's ever been, ever. Right?
Yeah.
So, okay. That's my short rant on that.
Right. Yeah.
But I was actually stoked to see her. I was happy. And
everybody gave her praise when she came. And even we were like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So that was a big, like we did not expect that coming into it. So
and for people to say no surprises, no like legendary returns this out or the, I was like, okay, we weren't expecting the Undertaker. Obviously, we all thought it was Austin. I think that they're just going to save him for later down the timeline. Definitely wasn't expecting Stephanie McMahon here.
Like, yeah. Now, one thing, I think they did this before they went on air. CM Punk on the commentary. Was he already on commentary when it went on air?
Yeah, he was already out there.
Okay, because he came out and people just went ballistic. But I'm like, wait, they didn't even go on air yet. So this was just for us.
Yeah, that was not part of the broadcast. I know that.
Okay, so they did, the whole panel. They did Michael Cole, Corey Graves, Pat McAfee, and then and everybody went nuts. And so CM Punk comes out, and I'm like, wait, we're not even live yet. Like, so this was just for us.
And yeah, I got to be honest with you. I think it's because they didn't want CM Punk to get the huge pop, and it really take away from Seth and Drew
From the
that
match,
were like,
yeah.
yeah. I think that was the decision there,
Yeah.
which is smart. I'm good with it. We did talk about the Seth and Drew match. I'll give it 3.25 stars. I would teeter towards 4 just because I really wanted Drew to get this win here.
Yeah, I'm gonna say with everything that went down, all the way up to Priest cashing in successfully, I'm actually gonna give this. I mean, because I know we had the main event, but I'm gonna say between a 4 and 4.2, just because everything was put out so smoothly, especially how and even this can probably put it more towards the 4.2, just because it was a better opener on night 2 than it was night 1.
That's fair.
So they just pulled the plug and I'm not sure if that was just something they thought of too. Like, hey, I mean, we have to just come out swinging on this next night, because I'm not sure if they just pretty much felt the same way about Rhea and Becky, even though Rhea won. But they're like, yeah, this could have been a better opening. So hey, let's just start out strong, because they definitely did. The whole match, just when the bell rung, freaking kicking Seth, and we almost thought that the night was over.
Yeah.
And then so then
I think that was almost a callback to
Sheamus
and Daniel Bryan. Yeah. Yeah. Like I literally saw that Claymore and I was like, tell me they're just going to have Seth get squashed immediately.
And it was almost 35 with Brock Lesnar and Seth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas when Lesnar and Seth came out, you and me were like, dude, Seth's winning. Or was it Lesnar? No, yeah, it was Seth, because Lesnar had the belt at the time.
Yeah, we were
so
like,
yeah, he's losing it and he's getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, because if Brock isn't the main event, if he isn't retaining, he's like, let me drop the belt and let me get on my plane and go back to my farm. Yeah, literally.
So we're like, yeah, Seth's winning. Boom. So yeah, 4.2 for the opener. That was great. I didn't expect. We didn't even talk about, or from what I remember, we may have given a little bit of talk about Damian Priest when he might cash in. Didn't think he would go towards the Drew and Seth match, even though he did give a little implement to it. But
I think they did this right in the Raws leading up, because they trolled us with having the Judgment Day come out to Imperium and Damian Priest saying to Gunther, that Intercontinental Championship is coming home with us at WrestleMania, one way or another. So that planted in our brains like, oh yeah, he's not touching Roman and Cody. He's not going after Seth, right?
So they did that. I liked how they did it, because when Priest music hit, everybody's like, oh crap, here we go. So then everybody was all for it.
Yeah, I was stoked. I was obviously a little bummed for Drew, because like I do want him to get that run.
Yeah, but I was giving him his praise. I'm like, hey, he needs this needed this moment, because he had the Thunderdome moment, didn't have it against a crowd, and I'm like, all right, cool. Finally gets his WrestleMania moment. He's going into the next pay-per-view as champion. Let's see how it goes. Music comes on. I'm like, oh crap, here we go.
I actually, like, in hindsight, looking back, think if the original plan was Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, I mean, I had Seth successfully defending the belt against CM Punk to get the win, because obviously Punk Punk left WWE in a really bad way. Obviously, that bringing him back in, you're not going to put that guy over Seth Rollins, who has been the MVP of the last decade.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to do that to Seth, okay? Seth was winning that match, maybe just barely, and maybe this Damian cash-in was the plan all along.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know.
And my guard is still up about CM Punk. I mean, I'm glad he's, getting along with everybody to a certain extent, but my guard's still up. I mean, even when he was in AEW, he was good for a couple months, then it just started going down. So I'm waiting for the 1 year mark, see how he really does, so my guard's still up on CM Punk.
I mean, if he gets to headline WrestleMania, like WrestleMania 41, I'll be happy because he can do whatever after that, get fired, and I'll be like, okay, he's gone, he's done. But at the same time, he's either upper 40s or early 50s at this point.
Yeah, I think he's upper, like probably mid 40s.
If he wants his legacy cemented in the WWE Hall of Fame, he needs to straighten up and fly right, man. Like, and that's like obviously off to a good start. There's nowhere else for him to go after this. Okay,
no.
So I'm rooting for him to stay on this course.
Yeah,
I'll actually be pretty bummed out because I was very much okay with him being just like, sure, cold day in hell if he ever comes back. The fact that he's in the picture now, I'll actually be really bent out of shape if he's gone. Even if he does it to himself. That being said, let's move on. Okay. Dude, tell me how silent this crowd was for these entrances.
Dude, I told you crickets for Karrion Kross. And then I'm like, all right, maybe Bobby Lashley. The only people that had somewhat of a good like reaction were the Street Profits. And even that was like maybe one cricket. But nobody gave a about this match. Nobody at all. People were more like, because that was the first thing of the night. And people can attest to this who was there. They started having light problems. And they had that on night one, I think, too. So people in the upper stands started chanting, turn the lights off, turn the lights off. And it got to the point that they weren't turning the lights off. So they started changing up their chant. And we were pissing ourselves. They're like, oh, please turn the lights off. Oh, please turn the lights off. It was so good.
Oh, that's hilarious. They introduced Bubba Ray Dudley after
that was the biggest. Yeah, that was the biggest pop of the whole thing.
Okay, so
he at least got a good one, and then Karrion Kross and them came out. I'm like, yeah. So you probably heard my claps probably in their audio because I'm like, let's go Kross. Nobody's clapping. I'm like, all right, you guys, like, come on, dude, like. I'm looking around, nobody's clapping. I'm like, all right, am I the only Karrion Kross like fan here?
I was just like, okay, tell me Bubba Ray was just sitting back watching the entrances and Gorilla, and Triple H was like, here, put this on, get out there.
Yeah, come on, you might want to go, like push him out. Yeah. Yeah, nobody cared about it. And the fact that, like I said in the live podcast, I'm like, I just hope it's an actual street fight and not just they just go right outside the ring and they never moved outside of the ring or like the little canvas like part. They never went into the stands. They didn't went anywhere, and they barely used like it was just a mediocre, match with a couple extra, devices. So I'm gonna give this like a 2.9.
I was gonna say I'd give it a 2.5 and not even, and it's not,
again being generous.
It's not even like saying that the people in the match did bad. I just feel like they didn't care about making this match feel important. Like,
no,
I actually really like the stuff that they're doing with Final Testament. But
yeah, I love it too. I'm a big Karrion Kross fan, but he needed to win it. But I love the spots with Bubba Ray. I loved all that stuff, but it wasn't enough to give it like, oh, it was probably one of the worst matches of the night. It was the worst match. Sorry, it was the worst match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy it more than the Jimmy and Jay match on Saturday. I'd say I maybe enjoyed it a little bit more than like the Che Gargill like triple threat match.
Yeah,
which both matches, like the Jade match went 8 minutes and 5 seconds, and this street fight went 8 minutes and 35 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would say the only thing that helped it feel a little bit better was Bubba Ray Dudley being the guest referee here. Okay.
Yeah.
The what's up moment. Like,
yeah.
My dad was like low key marking out in his chair,
Nice.
and because he
And the only other spot was probably Scarlett going through the table with the other chick.
yeah, which was great. It's fine. Yeah,
Nothing crazy about it.
Nothing crazy. 2.5 stars. Okay,
Mm.
LA Knight versus AJ Styles. For what it was worth. Yeah, for what it's worth, LA Knight needed to get the win. AJ Styles could lose. It won't hurt him because of all that he's done in the business. LA Knight needed this win. As much as Karrion Kross in the Final Testament needed the win. But I would say even more so because of how over the LA Knight got throughout the year. If you're going to get this guy another chance and give him a little more investment in good storylines going forward, he needed this win even more. I'm glad he did. The match went 12 and a half minutes. Honestly, not super memorable. They did great work. I will give it maybe 3.25 stars.
I was saying like 3.5 at most.
Yeah, I was like, it was better than 3, but not quite 3.5. That's why I was like, just split the gap here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Intercontinental Triple Threat match. I expected this to be a really fun and a really good match, and I thought it delivered. And mind you, I told you all my predictions last week. If Kevin Owens doesn't win, Randy Orton's not winning this match. Okay,
no.
If Logan Paul wins, it's literally one of the two. I didn't think Randy Orton was getting pinned either. I didn't want Kevin to get pinned, but I was like, okay, one of them is going to hit the finisher on the other. Logan's going to toss whoever out of the ring, and that's literally what happened. I was like, okay, I kind of called this. Overall, well executed. It looked like they were having a ball out there. Logan Paul is, he is in a league of his own as far as coming into the company. He works a handful of matches a year, and they're all really, really good. Okay.
Yes.
On the lower tier, it's at least 3.75 stars for me. It's I wouldn't give it 4.25. It wasn't like that mind blowing to me.
No.
So
I'm giving it another 3.5.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I could slide back because I'm like, I don't know if I feel like it was quite 4. I like at most 3.75.
Yeah.
3.25 seems a little low on my end. So
yeah, because I can agree with your statement that it didn't under deliver, but I felt it could have been delivered maybe a little bit better.
It didn't super wow me. Yeah.
There you go. It wasn't super wow. It wasn't bad. It was just a good overall match.
Yeah.
Nothing great, nothing super, but it was just like, that match did what it was supposed to do. So like 3.5.
Yeah, that's fine. Bayley defeats Io Sky.
I was all for this match.
Yeah. Tell me how it was live, and then I'll tell you how it sounds on commentary, because
the Bayley's ring entrance. And speaking of ring entrances, give me 2 seconds to talk about Seth's ring entrance. I don't know why we forgot about that. That was cool as whoopsie. The mummers thing, that was the best entrance of the whole weekend for me. That was cool.
We were trying to move this along.
Yeah,
right?
Sorry, but no. I totally forgot about that. That entrance was awesome. Drew's was really good too. I'll give Drew props for his, because he had like the whole sword, the whole type of thing. But when
I think Seth's was my favorite entrance of the weekend with the mummers. Come on,
Jen is a big mummers person, so we saw the mummers up there, and she's like, "Oh my god, they're gonna do a mummers thing." So I'm like, it's Philly. So I'm like, it was good.
I'm sorry, my favorite entrance of night 2, because The Rock's entrance night 1 was iconic. Man, come on. Like,
crap! I still gotta see that, so I gotta see what you're talking about. So yeah,
so good, man. Oh,
but yeah, for me right now, that was the best one of the weekend.
I thought Bayley's entrance was a little weird. Her wings were weird. It was off.
Because
right?
me and Jem were thinking, is she doing the Paramore thing? Because she wanted to try to get Paramore to do it. So I'm like, are we getting Paramore? But we didn't see anybody. We didn't see any band set up.
Oh, you would
But
have marked out harder for Paramore than
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let's be
I
serious.
probably would have been the same. Yeah. But then we're like, well, maybe Haley Williams is coming out and just doing like a single thing. But then it just said role model. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird because it's like all Egyptian stuff. I'm like, this does nothing. It has nothing to do with her character.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it was a little off field for it. So, but it was cool. I mean, she at least got something. She at least got some type of entrance. So I'm like, all right.
Definitely
Whoopsie.
101. No Paramore. No Haley
No
Williams.
Paramore. Yeah, that was definite whoopsie.
Definite
Whoopsie.
at its best, right?
Yeah. There you go.
Patreon.com/one set pod, right?
Yeah, there you go.
God.
Subscribe.
Let me mark that down. Okay.
But yeah.
How was the match in person, man?
The match was taken good. I think people were 100% Bailey because people in the stands were starting to chant the hey, we want some Bailey, and then doing the
I wanna know,
will you be my girl?
Okay.
Hey Bailey. Yeah, so everybody was invested in Bailey.
Wait, they actually said, hey, Bailey.
Yeah,
Okay.
people were chanting that.
Okay, because I thought they were just doing like the hey, baby, like the OG one, which to
No,
me...
they were saying the Bailey.
Okay.
Yeah.
That didn't really come through.
Yeah, I think it was more just the upper deck. Not a lot of people around here were getting that.
Oh, it definitely came through on the broadcast, and
I'm sure it came through, but
and I was sitting there like, I feel so bad for these two because they only do that chant when the audience is bored with the match, right?
Yeah, people were invested into it. People obviously were there for Becky, so they were happy to see her get her moment. And again, not like everybody erupted, but when she won, people were like, "Oh, yeah, finally, we get a good Bailey win. She gets another belt." So I was happy with it.
I was obviously hoping this would pan out for her, but just like with Cody, I hope that she makes this a good run.
Yeah.
Her career depends on it. I'm just going to say that right now because she has the chance to make it good.
If she does another run like she did in the Thunderdome, then we're going to get some good stuff. If she runs it like she did in the Thunderdome, whatever, but yeah. Then she should have a good run if she does.
Okay, rank it.
Like word same between
3.25, 3.5.
Yeah, that's about good. Like I said, nothing memorable.
Yeah,
but the fact that it just got her moment because she's been getting all that damage control, stuff on her and that she finally got her payback. I'll say, 3.25.
Okay. I will say the match registered better for me than Rhea and Becky, which is a total surprise.
It's definitely a better score than Rhea and Becky.
Total surprise. Okay. All right. Let's just get into this main event. We've already talked about it. Okay. Earlier on in the show when we're talking about like, hey, once Jey Uso came out, everybody was on their feet. I mean, this match it's gotta be like 4.25 minimum, right?
I was gonna say nothing less than, if you're saying less than 4, then you need to go watch it again.
No.
So
no.
I mean, I don't want to say 3.5. I would say 3.25.
No, 4.5.
I mean, sorry, yeah. I'm not saying 5. I'm not saying 4.5. Maybe 4.25. Because I don't want to be like, it's the best thing that ever really happened. I mean, there's been, not better match, but maybe better moments and stuff. But yeah, I'd say at the highest 4.5, at the lowest 4.25.
Yeah,
just because I'll just say just because we didn't get Austin, it'll be 4.25.
Yeah.
If Austin was there, it would be a dominant 4.5.
It would be like
no question, closer to 4 3/4, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'll tell you what kind of really took the wind out of the match, and it's nothing against Cody or Roman. I will say both entrances excellent. Cody's mask was made by Bray Wyatt's
Really?
designer. Yeah.
Perfect.
I saw that earlier, and I was like, no freaking wonder. Once I saw Cody with that mask, I was like, oh, I
Whoopsie.
love it.
Yeah.
I was all
It
for
came
it.
through the Titantron. I'm like, I can't not say now that Cody's winning.
Yeah.
Because if he's wearing that,
Oh,
come on now.
beyond that,
So
Brandy coming out, I was like, oh,
yeah.
he's gotta
Whoopsie.
win this, man.
He's gotta get. I'm like, I'm looking at Jen. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty good entrance.
Yeah.
You know, he's got, you know, his wife coming out. He's got the skull mask, and I'm like, yeah,
dude. Roman with the orchestra, come on,
yeah, that was cool,
dude.
Yeah.
I absolutely love
it.
that.
It came through the system so good too.
Oh, I love it. I love that so much.
It was awesome. Yeah.
I just want to go back to watching entrances again, right?
Yeah, so I need to see that Rock entrance because you've been telling me all weekend, like, dude, you got to see the Rock entrance. So I'll make sure to do that tomorrow. But yeah, the Roman entrance Sunday night was awesome with the orchestra, and it came through so good.
Well, and when we got the tag match Saturday night, and
I missed all those entrances. So I figured Cody was just going to be bare minimum with his entrance.
Cody, Roman, and Seth were all getting their main entrances Sunday night. So for them just having just regular entrances, like, it obviously made The Rock feel like even more final boss for him to get the entrance. You got to see it. I know
I'm stoked. I'm going to watch it definitely tomorrow. So
I just want to say, and again, I get it. Like, The Undertaker is not young anymore. The Rock is not young anymore. But I feel like I watched The Undertaker chokeslam Hulk Hogan 20 years ago where he barely got off the ground, right? And again, you haven't seen the match, like, back in person. There's just, like, no height to it. I was just like, oh, The Rock really got taken out by that rinky-dink chokeslam right there.
It was better than the chokeslam on Goldberg. I'll give you that.
Well, yeah, and I will agree 100% because I forget that Undertaker and Goldberg even had a match, and it almost ended The Undertaker, right?
Right. So I mean, I think he did enough for what he was there for. Just, hey, come in there, chokeslam, be out of there. You know, you don't have to worry about, like, did I do that right? Oh, now I got to go do a match and kind of redeem myself.
Yeah.
Coming out of retirement for that. But no, what did we say? 4.25, 4.5 at most. You know,
it's an easy 4.25, a really not quite 4.5 for me. I think we're both in the same boat there.
If Stone Cold, I mean, to this point now, I know Taker took Austin's spot. I just thought it would have been cool to have Austin there because, you know, 25 years ago, you know, back in Philly, it was Austin and Rock. Yeah. So it would have been that much more to make sense to say, hey.
That much more special because it's in Philly, right?
Yeah. Being that it's Philly, could have been, hey, let's do one more face down just for old time's sake. You try to do a rock bottom, I hit a stunner, blah, blah, blah. Call it that'd have been icing on the cake for me.
And here's the thing, too. We're speaking about this match right now and Cody getting the win, which was unexpected on both of our ends because we had Roman winning the match from a booking standpoint. I hope that one day Cody Rhodes is going to take this title run and help, you know, pave the way for this new era, the way that we know Triple H wants him to. And we'll go back and look at this match and say, this really, really started the new era. Like they were trying to say was the thing. I hope that we can look back to this and say, this match really kickstarted a whole different level of WWE, WWE fans, us, it's crazy to think that there are children that are coming into this now and have
Yeah.
no idea what the
Like,
history
I
of WWE
almost
was.
felt that we saw the ruthless aggression scene with Kurt Angle and Cena that kind of paved the way for the ruthless aggression era.
Yeah.
Like, I almost felt that we've seen that same thing happen Sunday and Monday with, Cody as your new champion, reigning in this new Paul Levesque era. And again, I'm all for it. I hope Cody has a good reign with this. He does. We have some good matches. We know he's going to put on some good matches. I'm looking forward to having him, see what feuds he gets into. Obviously, we're going to get a Rock and Cody feud eventually. So I'm looking forward to this, new season, because obviously after WrestleMania, it's the start of a new season. I'm looking forward to this and seeing what Hunter has in store, because like how he was saying, we're just trying new stuff, man. We're seeing what works, and what works, we're looking at it. If not, we're tossing it. So he's in the he's in the literal creative phase of like, let's just try new stuff, new camera angles, new this, new that. Like, he's just all about, taking things to the next level. And I think that's just where Vince was like just stuck in the, what he knows best and just not trying to think outside the box, where Paul is now to the point where he's like, yeah, let's take what Vince had, what taught me, but let's just put that on another pedestal and take it to the next level. So I'm looking forward to what this new era is going to reign in for everybody. And like we said in the beginning of this episode, it's so cool to be a wrestling fan right now. And, and screw you to the wrestling people that, or the people that don't believe in wrestling. Like, well, it's fake. It's all predetermined. We know, people, we are here for the entertainment.
Well, and not even that, like, Cheyenne was like, I don't understand, because they have the clip of Roman and Paul Heyman hugging at the top of the ramp after the match is over.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't understand why people are like getting so bad out of shape when they know the outcome of the match. I was like, you don't get the hard work that these guys are putting in to their livelihood to make this what it is.
Yeah.
She's like,
Roman knew that was like his last match for a little bit. So knowing that with everything, there's a lot of those emotions that just come out from that moment too.
And I honestly don't know if we get Roman as champion again. Maybe, but if he never held the belt again,
yeah,
he doesn't even have to. He can literally say, yeah, my final title run was the 1,300 plus day run that I had for almost 4 years. Like,
yeah,
who can say that these days, right? Dude, there's obviously a ton more that we can talk about.
Right.
And we will get into that at a different time. After this, we are taking a little hiatus to get back into all of our other, all of our other podcast fun things that we do here on the One Set Pod. Obviously haven't talked sports together on the pod in a while. Right?
Yeah, we got NBA finals coming up, hoping our Sixers do some damage.
Congrats to UConn, right?
Yes, congrats to UConn for winning. Purdue was right there again. Me and my dad were speaking about that center from Purdue. He can be a potential, draft pick coming up, if not this year, next year. I mean, that dude, I'm not sure if he's a senior, but yeah, he can definitely be a good, draft pick. So,
well, we gotta talk about LeBron's son entering the draft too, right?
We'll eventually talk something like that too. I mean, he'll eventually probably get picked up by somebody, if not,
of course,
so, and then probably if he doesn't get picked up by the Lakers, LeBron will move to where he's going to go. So we'll put that on another episode
for sure.
So again, shout outs to the people that again were, there at the live podcast. Shouts out to everybody that was tuning in to the live podcast through the stream. Thank you all again for tuning in to another episode. We love you all. Thank you all for continuing to support us. And if you haven't yet, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe right here on YouTube, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at One Set Pod. If you want to send us any personal messages or what you're thinking of the podcast, send us an email at onesetpod@gmail.com. We do have a Patreon. Feel free to hit that up, patreon.com/onesetpod. And we also have our own line of merch over at our merch store in the onesetpod.bigcartel.com. So we have, t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, whatever you want. And if you have something that you want to see us put up there, let us know. We'll get it up there, man. I think this weekend definitely showed that, we are doing something great with this podcast. And, we have people that we don't even know that are tuning in weekly. Yeah. So it's cool to know that we have people following our lives. And, we do a lot of wrestling talk, but we know people love to hear the wrestling and everything else we talk about in our lives. So, shouts out to all those people, and we hope to continue to hear from you and everybody else, man. So,
yeah, for real. I know Anthony did the shout outs at the start of the show and just kind of recalled them back. And I just want to say thank you, because Anthony and I do this week to week, every week, just about. Obviously, Anthony was a little wrapped up the last couple months.
Yeah.
Excited for him to be back. Excited for us to be back together on the pod. Excited to note, because, hey, in case anyone didn't know, we are a small fish in a giant pond of podcasts. There are tons of podcasts. So if you're tuning into us just kind of shooting the shit together, we've been best friends for 25 years now. And we literally are just out here sharing our thoughts together. Anyone tuning in, we are super grateful for you. And just getting those handful of people that are like, oh, it's the One Set Bros, we follow you. That was that really made the tailgate live stream experience, our first one ever, a new experience. Not a new experience, it was obviously a new experience, but I was not expecting that, and it definitely brought that experience to a whole nother level. So from the bottom of my heart, personally, that meant so much. So thank you to those. Hey, you could have walked past us and seen us and be like, oh yeah, we kind of know those guys, and not said jack shit to us. So,
and I knew there was people that walked by and they just kind of saw the QR code, and I think they kind of just either looked at it and just walked, which is cool.
Handful of times.
Hey, if you guys subscribed, thank you. If you guys even took a look at us and just looked at the cool images we have and were like, these guys are okay, we'll listen to it another time. Hope you guys tune in to a future episode. But any traction we got from the live podcast and you guys are watching on the first time, thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you guys continue to join us on this journey with us.
For sure. And the very last thing I want to say to you, Anthony, thank you again for picking up my jersey at Wrestlemania when you were there, because we know, anyone that follows along, I was looking forward to getting this jersey at WWE World in Philly, and I went through the whole experience. I got to watch Drew on stage with Byron Saxton for a half hour, which was super cool. You got to see Randy Orton on stage. I got to see Omos, Charlotte, and The Undertaker at WWE World. By the time I got into the shop and saw no adult sizes for these jerseys,
it was all youth.
And they were like, oh, we're getting some back tomorrow, or we're getting a shipment in tonight. If you want to come back tomorrow morning. I was like, I've got the live stream podcast to do. You should know this.
like, do you got $50 for parking? Come on now. Like,
yeah, seriously.
Get real.
Get real. Real trash.
Whoopsie. Yeah. I mean, I did see Charlotte in the panel with Tyler Breeze, and I think Braun Strowman was supposed to be in it, but he wasn't there. You must have saw him earlier, I think.
I saw Braun Strowman. That's right.
Yeah.
And
so he must have been either in that panel earlier, and we probably saw Charlotte with Tyler Breeze later on.
And it was really cool because we saw Braun Strowman at the Access up in New York 5 years ago. So,
and that's what Jen was saying. She's like, it's fine. I saw him close up at the Access last time, so it's fine with me.
He walked right in front of us, and I was like, okay, he is literally as big as he looks on TV. Just
exactly.
Massive.
So Jen was cool to see Randy Orton. She's a big Randy Orton fan. So we waited to see him, and we got to see his whole, interview. And I think we saw Gunther, but we didn't get to go get his signature, but he was in one of the lines. But he was the only one that I'm not gonna wait in like a 40-minute line just to do him. So because there was like so many other things, I'm like, at least I saw him in the direct like line. So I'm like, all right, cool. But I'm trying to think if there was anybody else. Oh, well, Undertaker was doing the signing, so I got a picture of him. So, and I was thinking of you at that time, because at that time I kept thinking that you had not seen him. So I'm like, again, Jim is getting screwed out by seeing Undertaker again.
Saw him twice. Austin's the one that I have never seen in person.
Yeah, so we're both on that same page. We both have never seen Austin.
Hopefully someday.
Hopefully someday. Yeah.
Let's
sign
get this
off,
wrapped
man.
up. Yeah, for sure. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Anthony, love you, brother. I am looking forward to getting back on track with the pod with you.
I'd be back.
I have enjoyed honestly doing the solo journey. I do have guest episodes coming out soon.
Yeah, they'll be coming up.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm looking forward to getting more guests on the show. For sure. Anthony, love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
Everybody, thank you all for tuning in. This has been One Set.
One Set.